Do you want to be a commodity? The answer to that question is if you're a small and medium-sized business, you do not want to be a commodity, because when you're stuck in a commodity position in the marketplace, your margins get squeezed and your profitability gets squeezed, and you got to do more volume to even make a living and service your customers. There's basically three things: price, quality, and deliverability, that are things that you can do. And when you compete solely on the price, you put yourself in a commodity viewpoint. Here's an example. Here's a postcard from a guy that all he's advertising, he's a medical services company, he's advertising price. When the person receives this postcard, they may already have a lower price from a competitor, or maybe not. The thing in low price, a lot of times people really understand that you get what you pay for today. So if it's a cheap price, what are you sacrificing? You're sacrificing quality, you're sacrificing service, deliverability. You're giving something up. We've all bought cheap stuff on Amazon only to have it fall apart after a few uses when we get it at home, and it's just junk. It's Chinese made junk that was cheap, and somebody bought this cheap junk so they could advertise a cheap price point and try to get business, but it never works. And people know this. They instinctively know this. We've all had experience with it. You've had experience buying some cheap stuff that didn't work out for you and ended up spending a lot more money, and it would have been easier if you had just went with the quality source or the quality vendor. So how do you communicate that? How do you communicate selling quality and price? Well, it gets down to the solution to problems. Last year, Lowe's sold 25 million quarter-inch drill bits. Nobody went into Lowe's wanting a quarter-inch drill bit. They all went into Lowe's wanting a quarter-inch hole is what they wanted, and that was the tool to get it. So advertise the benefit, advertise the solution, the quarter-inch hole, not the drill bit. So this is a client that sold a fencing company, or gates, and the big benefit for him is one-day installation. That's something most of his competitors can't keep up with, because they're smaller, medium-sized businesses, and they have a limited number of crews. They overcommit themselves, and they don't. He doesn't. He plans his jobs, he gets it. He guarantees one-day installation. And if you're wanting something like this for your home, that's a big benefit. He does happen to throw in a $2,000 offer. So when you're advertising and you're advertising price and item, everybody, I've told you repeatedly, give them a good offer, but you also need to balance that with a big benefit on the reason why, and make sure that your offer is not always a price thing. I had a roofing company that they were throwing in power washing the house and free gutters with the purchase of a roof. It worked great. It's something, gutters cost them a few $100s. They had a deal with a guy that does pressure washing, charge them a couple $100s. The women love it because they want the house pressure washed. Women today, for home services, as you know, are the big decision makers on these products and services. So think outside the box on what else you can offer, and don't pigeonhole yourself into being a commodity, because commodities get squeezed on price, and you get squeezed on deliverability, and you don't make any money, and you have a day filled with stress where you're pulling out your hair because you've got all this stress and unhappy customers and fires that you're going to put out. So don't be a fireman, be a marketer, and market your business smartly.